Bella Salon and Day Spa, located at 41 West Main Street in Northeast Pennsylvania, proudly supports Chautauqua Sunrise and its volunteers. More information at bellasalonanddayspa.net. Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. From the Access Channel 5 studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Channel 5. Continuing the traditions of Senior Report, we are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week, countywide, from 9 to 10 a.m. Join us by calling in live, emailing us, or checking out our social media. And now, from the Channel 5 studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Chautauqua Sunrise. I'm Doc Hamels, and we got another very informative and entertaining show for you in store, at least the second half. Hey, hope you're enjoying the brief summer that we had. We're back into fall already. It's been a crazy week, hasn't it? It was like 86 one day and then 58 the next day, and I don't know what we're doing today, but it's trying to warm up, but we'll see. Anyways, I hope you're enjoying at least the warmer weather in here in Chautauqua County. Hey, I don't know about you guys, but the birds are back. I love studying birds. That's one of my passions up on the hill in Ripley. And the other day I saw a pileated woodpecker and then a green heron. We talked about that last week. And then bluebirds were back yesterday. I hadn't seen them in quite a while. So it's just so wonderful to hear their calls. And usually when I walk around in the woods, I'll hear something that's not common or I hear every day, and then I get the binoculars out and go see what it is. So get out there and check out the birds. It's a lot of fun. Hey, if you're listening Tuesday 1 o'clock in the afternoon on WRFA, good afternoon to our listeners over in the Jamestown area. Thanks for joining us and listening in. We really do have a good show in store for you today with lots of good information and some fun information that I think you're going to find worthwhile listening to. If those of you that are watching us live this morning at 9 o'clock, 9:02, you can give us a call at 753-5225. If you have a question for our guests, if you have an announcement you want to make and so on, feel free. And those of you that are listening on the radio during the week, if you have something you want to share with us, you say, well, I can't call you now. That's okay. Email us. We have the opportunity to receive email. We're on Facebook, which is really the best way. Just look for Chautauqua Sunrise and we'll pop right up, and we take all kinds of messages. We're going to change things around today because our first guest is very special to us here because he is our fill-in guy and go-to guy when I'm stuck with a cancellation, and he'll get up bright-eyed, bushy-tailed and come on down to the station and just fill us and with information and regale us with little-known facts about Chautauqua County. So I want to welcome back my good friend John Paul Wolfe, curator of the Chautauqua County Historical Society at the McClurg Mansion. How'd I do?
That was really good.
You've trained me finally.
Mouthful.
After all these years, I finally got it down. I usually forget the county part. So John, welcome back. And,
Well, thanks for having me.
and this is your own slot. This isn't even an emergency.
I know, I'm not a fill-in today. And I'm never bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at this hour in the morning. And the other thing, I have a pileated woodpecker at my house, and you can have him because he's destroying my trees.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Well, I've got a lot of trees in my house, so that's okay.
We're losing them.
Jeez. But they're spectacular. He was at the bird feeder. And
Look scary. They look
they
like
do.
something from
Yeah, like
dinosaur
a
age.
pterodactyl or something. But you know they based Woody Woodpecker
Right.
on that bird. So it's like, wow, he's huge. They're like 24 inches tall. They're beautiful though. So John, what's going on? I know this today, especially something special going on. I know that we announced it about a month ago. I think we were announcing it.
Right.
Throughout parts of the county.
Throughout the county, a lot of the museums in the county, not all of them, but a lot of the museums are free to the public today. It's an open house for museums in Chautauqua County. If you're planning on going to one, you just better check to make sure they're open, because some of them are only open in the summers, but the ones that are, and then there are a couple that are not participating. So, but the McClurg is open and free, so for today, you don't have to pay that exorbitant $5. So,
Where do people park?
well, you can either park around the park for us, or you can drive right in the driveway. There's a driveway, if you can see it, between the park and the Fairpoint Telephone Company. There's a skinny driveway, and there's a circle out back, and you just park right there.
So are you really at the corners of 20 and 394?
Right
in the
there in
middle
the
of
corner.
us. And for those of you who have never been to the McClurg, I got to tell you, I've not only have I played there a number of times, but I visited there with family members and that, and it's just absolutely a gem. I just love
Some
going
days,
there.
some days.
Well, for me it is.
We
I
have
always
a
enjoy it.
picture of the. I think we have a picture of this for those people who don't know what it
Okay,
looks
Jeff,
like.
let's pop that up. We have a
start
picture
with the
of the
picture.
actual building itself on the
Should be
outside.
the first picture.
First picture. Let's see if they're.
There we go. So there's there now. It has been photoshopped because we do have a little paint problem. So it looks like there's no paint peeling at all on the brick.
I couldn't see it from here anyways.
Yeah, well, there you go. And the fountain, which was open last year, I'm trying to get it open, but the weather is not participating with my goal. But all the roses survived, and they look wonderful.
wow.
They're twice as big as they are in this picture. So we will have the fountain open within the next week, unless the weather stays windy and cold.
And I know you can do this right off the cuff. John, as we're looking at the mansion now, can you give us a few tidbits about the mansion, how old it is, and why it's right in the middle of town?
Right. First of all, they started building it in 1818.
Oh.
And they moved in, this would be James McClurg and his family moved in 1820, making it the oldest standing brick mansion in Chautauqua County and one of the oldest survivors in the whole western New York. It's solid brick and built like a rock. A part of our problem is the brick was made on the spot because there were no brick yards in Chautauqua County.
They made the bricks here?
Yeah, right there, and so they're soft.
Okay.
And that's part of the problem.
So it wasn't that they built the mansion in the middle of the town. The town.
No, there
grew
was
up
no town
The
here.
town grew up around the mansion.
On purpose, when he bought all the land, which is now Westfield on the east side of the gorge, there were originally in 1806, 1809, there wasn't anybody there. He was buying the land purely for land speculation.
Okay, so he was going to flip it.
Right, and that's what he did, and he was moving the village. The original crossroads was the original whole county settlement over Gale and West Main.
Okay.
That was the original crossroads of the original settlement in 1802. And by 1834, when the village was created, it was on the other side of the gorge. So now I live in suburbia. And so anyway, that's the story. If you look at the picture there, the main section is the original. There's a little addition on the left-hand side that was put in, we think, around 1830. And over on the right-hand side, you can see the pillars on the side porch. That was put in 1899. That's the very first bathroom in the house.
Wow.
So the house was smaller, and it was much more symmetrical originally.
And
And the
as far-
porch was different.
Okay.
Two-story pillared porch originally.
Wow.
That's why there's a door upstairs, because that was taken out in the 1870s.
Wow. And as far as the fountain goes, was that original? To
Original 1820. We think it's the
the
very...
1820? Oh, I didn't know it went back that far.
Right. We think it's the very first jet fountain in all of Western New York, because he had his own reservoir just to run the fountain. He had no running water in the house, but he had a jet fountain.
Well, probably.
Not that
I
statue.
didn't even know how to explain it. Wow.
Not that statue.
No indoor plumbing, but you have a fountain.
Right.
But you know, in Europe, that was very common.
Right.
You know, like a lot of the gardens that would have those fountains, and then
Right.
you had your chamber pots and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So whatever. Well, tidbits of information. I told you guys this is going to be interesting.
None of that what I was planning on talking about, but there you go.
Because that's how we roll here. So, all right.
So anyway, we have open house today,
All right,
10 to 4
10
for
to
us.
4. So people, they just walk in. They don't have to have special reservations or
no,
anything. So if they walk in the door, what happens? I mean, they just wander, or what's the
No,
deal?
we only do tours unless you're a member and we know you and you've been there before. So tourists or people who are brand new, they come in and we give them a tour. So you'll have to listen to me or Jack Horst, who's our other Saturday person. And it's 3 floors, 21 rooms, 400,000 items, not all on display, but we try to get through most of them. So it's at least an hour. I really can't do an hour. I have to do more than that. But
John,
I've gone as far as 8-hour tour,
Oh, my God.
but I promise that won't
what
happen.
got you interested in history to start with? I don't think I've ever asked you that question.
I was an art teacher. I didn't even like reading or history. I don't know, it by accident.
I mean, who
Antiques.
liked history in school?
Yeah.
It was always
I-
memorized dates. It was dry, but you.
Way back in the beginning, in junior high, I started working on restoring antiques and things like that.
Okay.
We've always, because my family had been in Westfield for 173 years now in the same house.
Holy moly.
My grandfather, when we were barrel makers, and he donated, when they moved into the museum in 1951, he donated his father's barrel making tools, the cooperage,
right.
some of them. I still have 100 more to get over there at some point. But anyway, so
Was Wolfe the family name all those years?
for Westfield, yeah. Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good.
Wolfe and Hoydink, as in the Inky Dinks from from Clymer and North Clymer. We were North Clymer
The
Hoydinks.
Inky Dinks.
The Inky Dinks.
You heard that first here. I guess. Maybe not, maybe less. Okay, so that's going on today. And not that you have to list them all, but how many museums are in Chautauqua County? I mean, bona fide ones.
Well, now there are somewhere between 25 and 30, believe it or not.
So like most of your little villages have their little museum.
Now they all do, yeah. When we started in 1883 as an historical, it was called the Chautauqua History and Science Society.
Ooh.
And that was, and we became a historical society in 1906. We got a charter from New York State, and we were the only museum in the whole county. And then it became kind of a fad that everyone wanted to have their own little community museum, but that didn't start till the 1950s or 60s. So like the Fenton in Jamestown, that didn't start until 1964, and we'd already been 80 years.
You know, I like to travel with my wife. We went to the Potato Museum in Idaho. And they have all things potato.
Well, there you go.
It's just the same idea. People like to promote their community and look back at history and learn from their mistakes and from their successes. So what else you got for us today?
Okay, well, the other thing about the museum is we're not a Westfield Museum. It gets people confused because we're in Westfield, but we're the County Historical Society. So we have massive stuff from Jamestown and Fredonia and Panama and Sinclairville, you name it. We've got stuff from everywhere, not Westfield. I mean, we have plenty of Westfield stuff. We probably have 50,000 items from Westfield,
All
but
right.
we also have all that other stuff.
It begs the question, is there a Westfield Museum?
No.
Okay.
No, there
so it just so happens that it's like when you have the state capitol in your city,
Right.
you just happen to be...
We were originally located in Mayville at the courthouse.
Oh, okay.
And then we were in the building where the sweet spot is for 40 years.
Across the street?
Right, that was when they built the new courthouse, so we were moved in there, and then we needed a bigger place, and the
So how
McClurg,
many years have you been at McClurg now?
1951, I'm sorry, whatever
Right.
that is, 74
Right.
years, 73 years.
Wow. Okay.
So there you go.
There we go. All right, so today's a good day to get out, and if you... we say this all the time. People say, there's nothing to do. Oh, there's plenty to do.
Plenty to do.
And so here's just one more thing, and it's free.
That's true.
Wonderful. Okay.
Can we switch to the next
You
picture?
can do anything you like.
Let's try another picture coming up, and
Okay,
we'll
let's
talk
pop up
about
the picture,
whatever the
Jeff.
picture is.
All right. Dun, dun,
Okay,
dun.
one of our events, I have a whole list of things we do during the year, and we're already halfway down through the page one of what
Yeah.
we've done, because we started in January.
Right.
Anyway, we've got a big fundraiser coming June 10th. It's a Saturday, and it's from 6 to 8, and it is, it's called Standing Ground, but because we have a Civil War reenactment that same weekend on Saturday and Sunday. But Saturday night from 6 to 8, you can come to the museum, and it's enough food for a full meal. We have chafing dishes and hors d'oeuvres of all kinds, hot and cold, and beer and wine, and music. And someone abandoned me this year as the musician. But for those people who have been there for a long time, we have new musicians this year.
Yes, and they're going to be just as good
There you go.
as I was in the past.
There you go. And also because the reenactors are living out in the park, they come in for the party too, and they're all dressed in their fancy uniforms and their big hoop skirts, and they wander around, and so it gives a great feel to the place, and you can just wander around the museum too.
And as you mentioned, I played there, what, four or five times?
I think it was longer than that.
I've lost track. It's been quite a few years now, and it's just a really fun event if anyone's interested in going. And as John said, people show up. A Confederate comes walking by you in full uniform with scabbards and swords and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we don't prevent them from keeping their guns outside.
And then I remember I was in the middle of a song, and all of a sudden I hear guns going off. And
Yeah, sometimes they get carried away.
but it's fun, and it's alive, and again, history right here in Chautauqua County. Now, as far as the Civil War goes, was the Civil War, did it come into
It
West?
didn't come here, but we went. A lot of people went.
Right.
If you show the other picture, the next one.
Okay, next one up.
Chautauqua County supposedly had 4,400 men going to the Civil War. There were about 5 regiments that were formed in Chautauqua County, and the 9th Cavalry was the Westfield Regiment. And they were big heroes at Gettysburg. There's a monument just for the 9th Cavalry at Gettysburg. They took some major losses. 1,400 men from Chautauqua County were killed. So over a quarter of the men that went off to war during the Civil War were killed from Chautauqua County. This is a picture of one of the reenactments. They're getting ready to shoot the Confederates. If you go during the day, the Civil War weekend, which is June 10th and 11th, Saturday and Sunday, they have flag raising in the morning, and then I think I don't have that time here, but I think that there's a battle scheduled for usually it's at 2 o'clock. And you go and you watch them run around the building and
I
shoot
call it a
each other.
skirmish.
Skirmish, yes, it's a skirmish. And then somebody decides to fall down and get killed, and then if you're not looking, they get back up and they
Start all over
again. But yeah, it's a great.
For our friends listening right now on the radio, what we're looking at are about a half dozen guys in full Union uniforms,
Right.
And there's canteens, and they've got their rifles,
And they literally live there Friday and Saturday night and cook right there.
yeah,
in
I've gone by the
park.
cook fires, and the women are making candles, as I recall.
Right, well,
and
yeah, and they do the cooking.
little
and
kids are running around. Was it typical for families to travel with the soldiers?
Not a lot of them, but I think
On the outskirts
officers
of the
in
battleground, probably.
Yes.
Right. So things are very much realistic. And how much does it cost to go?
Oh, for the reenactment,
Yeah.
it's free. It's completely free. You can go just wander into the park Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes people list it as Friday, but it is not Friday. Don't come on Friday. They're setting up,
Okay.
but they're setting up. So it's Saturday and Sunday all day long. I think they shut down on Sunday about 3:30.
So really, right smack dab in the middle of that whole thing is your fundraiser.
And that evening is the fundraiser.
So
We
how do they
combine
get
the
tickets
two.
if they're interested? I don't know if we talked
You
about
can
that.
call the museum, 326-2977. You can email us at cchs@mcclurgmuseum.org, or you can just see somebody who's... I have tickets in my pocket if you need them.
I'm busy that night.
Yeah. That's why he's claiming he can't come.
Can you buy them at the door?
And you can buy them at the door. We
Okay.
we always will sell them to anybody that comes. Just if you have the money, just come to the door, and Nancy Hanks will take your money.
And I find it so interesting that you have music playing, and you have folks in period dress, perhaps people that are visiting, they're part of the event, and you almost kind of lose track of that it's 2017.
Except for the number of people in the building.
Right, right. But it's very gala feeling. You got people coming and going. They're outside. They're enjoying hors d'oeuvres and foods and drinks, and it's a nice evening.
And actually, after the party, I think it's at 8:30 or 9 when it gets a little darker. The reenactors do a candlelight tour, and you can go from tent to tent, and they're doing things. They may be, if there's a surgeon shows up, they may be doing surgery for somebody, soldier that's wounded, and it's just interesting for that part. I assume they're doing that this year again.
Okay. Now you got some other things coming up, I know, this summer.
That's true. So our next event is, well, the antique show. I think that's the next, maybe that's the next card. I'm not sure. Next picture.
Okay, let's pick it up.
And that,
there we go.
There we go. We're right, even right in order. So if you see on the right there, it says 79th anniversary.
Oh.
It's the longest running antique show in the United States.
Really?
1938 it started, and it's always been in Easton Hall since 1938. It's always been there. We have not owned the show. We've only owned the show since the 1990s. And it's a fundraiser. All the money from both the party and from the antique show, every piece of profit goes to the running the museum.
How much does it cost for that?
That's $5 per person to get in. And it's on Saturday and Sunday, July 15th, and Sunday, July 16th. The hours are 10 a.m. to 5 on Saturday and 11 a.m. to 4 on Sunday.
Now, Easton Hall, for those that are from other parts of the county, you go up 394, make a right onto Route 20.
Route 20
Main Street towards Buffalo,
and
let's
you
say.
take the first right again, it's Elm Street, and it's right there.
And Town Hall's there. And
Village Hall, Town Hall.
so it's a big room. We use it for Rotary for quite a lot of different things. All right, so for the newbie, what in the world is an antique show other than just looking? I mean, can you buy stuff there?
That's the idea. You buy things.
Oh, you buy things.
What we make our money on is the $5 entrance fee.
All right.
So we pray for rain or extremely
So
hot.
you're the ones that...
Yeah, that weekend we either want rain or just sweltering 100-degree weather. It helps for either one. We have air conditioning. It's all air conditioned. So and people don't want to be outside. Then they come to our antique show.
Okay, so we're looking at furniture,
Everything.
art, everything goes.
It's a small show. There's only 24 dealers. Some of them, we have one dealer who's been there for 36 years this year.
Wow.
They're all from out of the area. There's no one that's a dealer from Chautauqua County.
Why is that?
I just want, you can go to the dealers in
Oh,
Chautauqua
that's true.
County.
Why
Come there.
Why drag all their stuff? Yeah.
So a lot of Buffalo, Rochester. We have Indiana. The doll lady has been there forever. She's coming from Indiana. Ohio, Pennsylvania. So they're from out of the area.
Okay.
I think 5 states are covered as well as everything else.
I mentioned from time to time on the show, and just a bit ago with you, is that Barb and I like to travel all over the place, and inevitably we always go to an antique store, and it's fascinating to be in New England, go to an antique shop, and then go to an antique shop in Texas or up into Cheyenne, Wyoming, or wherever we are at the moment, and it's how do I explain this? It reflects the differences in the culture. It reflects the fact that some areas are older than others, and the things that you see, like out west, they're old, but they're not that old. I mean, you're talking maybe 1920s, for instance, because there was nothing out there until that time. Or you'll have ethnicity, like you'll have Native American art, or you'll have European stuff. And so antiques are just so much fun. It's history. It's all great stuff.
And if you come to the museum, you'll see all of those things because we have it all.
Right. Okay, so
That's
those are
the
2
fundraiser
things.
and the antique show. And what's next? Let's see. And I don't have the date on this. I can tell you what it is. In August, we're having we have a speaker series.
We announced it here. Yeah.
Lectures since 1884. We have over 400 on our website that we found of the text of lectures. We're still doing them.
I think we announced one on ice making or something not too long ago.
Oh, that was last fall.
Last fall?
We did one on Barcelona at the Patterson
That's
Library
right, yep.
in the winter, and we were expecting 40 people or something. It was Barcelona Industry. Christy Herbst, our president, is a Barcelona family. Her ancestors were fishermen in Barcelona. She
Christy was the editor of the Post-Journal.
That's right. But
And she hails from Westfield.
well, she
Her
grew up in
family.
Mayville, but
Okay.
the generation before were all fishermen.
Oh.
Jackways, the VFW Post,
Oh.
named after her uncle.
I did not
think
know
it's
that.
her uncle.
Every time you come on here, I leave with like
There you
10
go.
new interesting nuggets. So when I sit around the Friday night fish fry, I can really sound cool with the rest of the
Yeah,
family.
and remember, half of it's true.
That's true.
Anyway, so she did a talk. We were expecting maybe 40. Turned out to be over 100 if you counted the library staff and everyone that was there. So we were a little crowded. But Nancy, who's coming on next, helped with. We made sure almost everyone had chairs. There were only so many chairs in the library. You couldn't find that many, but a lot of standing room only. So it was pretty exciting. And I'll talk about the next part of that in a second. So in August, we do have an event at Liberty Winery. We move around the county because we're county, so we pick
Yeah.
a topic based on something related
Where's
to
Liberty
that area.
Winery? I'm not sure.
Sheridan, Silver Creek,
Oh,
up
all
there
right. Oh,
somewhere.
north
I've never
of
been
here.
there.
Okay,
Yeah, north.
okay, okay.
And it's actually going to be a cheese and wine pairing
Okay.
because the topic is cheese making in Chautauqua County.
Michelle Henry is coming on, and
She's
we're going to talk about
it. Well,
that.
then you'll have the exact date.
Okay, very
'Cause
good.
This is an old copy of the events, and it says to be arranged.
Yes.
And it's like I don't have that. So.
We're going to
It
talk
is
about
August, however.
Okay, yep. She's
Okay.
coming on here soon.
And just to jump ahead one more time, we've got in November, it's a long way away, but we've got Leo Deliba, who's talking about local bank notes. A lot of people don't realize there were banks all over. Westfield at one point had 4 banks or 5 banks, each owned by an individual. But he's talking about local bank notes, and that's somewhere. That's First Methodist Church in Jamestown.
Well, I do dabble a little bit in currency and coin collecting, and over the years I have seen in auctions where you have the Jamestown Bank of whatever, and they have their currency. And
Yeah, they printed it themselves.
Yeah.
My grandfather was in the bank in Westfield for 45 years, and when he
They
started...
wouldn't let them out?
No.
Okay. See how that we do this all day.
Anyway, actually, I think
He lived there.
he was forced to retire.
maybe
He was still the assistant cashier at age 78.
Really?
But he didn't start until he was, it was his second career. But he started in 1908.
Oh, wow.
When they were still printing their own money, and I have one of his dollar bills, one of his $5 bills with his signature on it, because the assistant cashier, one of his jobs was to sign them and cut them up off of the big sheets. So
People don't realize that back in the 1780s, when the country was very much in its infancy in the 1790s, that most of the currency from the government was hand signed by the Secretary of the Treasury.
Right.
Real quick story. I was going through somebody's collection one day to help them out, and I had this envelope, and I said, "What's in here?" And they said, "Oh, I don't know." And I hold it up, and it looked like it was like an old $5 bill from like the 30s. So I pull it out, and I'm looking at it. I said, "Well, this is worth a few bucks." And then, and I was ready to toss the envelope, and I thought, "I'll just check one more time." I look, and there's something in there, and it was, I think it was a 6-shilling note from 1791, and it was hand signed, numbered, whatever it was, from, I think it was Massachusetts, and it was worth more than 6 shillings.
Yeah.
But that's the way currency was in those days.
Right. When I was going through the safe deposit box, my father was in the bank too, but my grandfather collected paper money, and there was an envelope that was still from his collection in the box.
Wow.
And there's some small notes like you're talking about, and there's one from the Mount Vernon Bank signed by George Washington.
Oh, my.
And I thought, oh, this is worth a fortune. I talked to the paper guy. No, not really. It's like, it's George Washington.
It could have been they'll say, well, it was probably his secretary. Or,
Yeah, whatever. So anyway, I still have it in the bank. So it's like,
well, good for you. But
anyway.
great history, great information stuff. Okay.
okay, so that covers all of that. I won't get into the winter stuff. Hopefully I'll be back
We'll-
to talk about winter.
We'll try.
We'll try. Well, get me on the schedule, whoever's
All right,
talking.
schedule, John.
Okay, so
I'll make a
let's
note
go
right
to
now.
the next picture because I do want to talk about. I don't know how much time we
We
have
got
left.
about 8 minutes yet.
Okay.
Okay.
So here's a picture of, I think most of people will recognize it as the lighthouse down in Barcelona. And I got permission to announce today that this is a really exciting new project. The State Parks Department about 5 or 6 years ago purchased the lighthouse, and they didn't know what they were going to do with it, but it was for sale, and they wanted to save it because it's so historically important.
Yeah.
And it's now officially a New York State park,
Right.
even though it's the smallest park in the state, probably.
That's true.
And
That's true.
it opened last year. The basically the dining room is the welcome center for the town of Westfield. So
I went in there one day.
and you can get the tourists stop in and get brochures for everything going on in the county, and they tell you about what's available and everything. And so that was last year. Well, this year now we're working, the Chautauqua County Historical Society, the town of Westfield, and the Parks Department are working to set up in the living room, which is a very large room, a display of Barcelona, the history of Barcelona from our collection. So we've gotten about 50 pictures copied and ready to go, and archives and items, and it's really going to be exciting. So whenever the visitor center is open, then the museum part will be open too. We're not going to be staffing it; it'll be self-explanatory.
Okay.
But
Self-tour, yeah.
it's a satellite from the McClurg.
Okay, so now the building we're looking at, which stands today,
Right.
there's the lighthouse,
Right.
and then there's a building. Now this was the lighthouse, the keeper's cottage.
It was half the size it is now. It's been changed over the years. Somebody lived in it, as a home. But so it's twice the size, I'm sorry, as it was. But on the door there, you go in that front door, and to the right is the dining room, was the dining room. That's where the brochures and everything are.
Right.
And the whole big section on the left is the living room. And the best part of it, if you go out back, the front of the building, which
Right,
faces
there's
the
the lake.
lake, there's a big wide porch, and you can sit there, and you're right on the cliff looking over the harbor. It's probably the most beautiful spot in the county in many ways. And the birds are there. I mean, it's right now all the ducks and all the herons and everything are flying right around
Barcelona
you.
is just a gorgeous area.
So even if you just go down there at night, and well, you're not hearing that from me, but there's two places to park, and you just walk up on the front porch and just sit there and enjoy the sunset.
Now, again, free.
Free, yeah, free.
And it's right on Route 5,
Right.
at 5 and 394, just down the road from the McClurg.
Right.
Now, see if I got this right. This lighthouse is the first or the oldest first gas-lit lighthouse in the world, I think, right?
Yep. They found gas in the creek up the road, and they trapped it. You can still, in that creek, you can light the water.
Reed Powers would tell us stories of how he would do that and blow up his friends and stuff like
Well,
that.
I don't think it was that much power. He was not
He had a
quite blow up
tendency
the
to-
friends.
Reed had a tendency to stretch things a tad bit.
Anyway, they then had wooden pipes that went over and lit the lighthouse.
Wow.
It wasn't very successful. It was only used for a few years that way. But that was the first lighting of it. I'm not sure exactly how many years it was used that way, because a lot lot of the gas got loose.
Okay, loose gas.
Loose gas, so to speak.
Okay,
never
last
mind.
year I was, move along, last year I was there because I was biking, and I stopped in, and like you said, it's a great place to take a break. They've got some benches there, as I recall, but they didn't have the dining room open, so that must have been the doors that were,
Yeah, over to the left, yep.
Oh, well, I'll have to stop there then. I'm looking forward to that, and it is a gorgeous area.
And I can't tell you exactly when it opens. It'll be after Memorial Day. Whenever they open, we will have our stuff. We're ready to put it in once they've finished putting some doors on.
Will you
some
let me know and
bookcases.
I'll announce it? Okay. And
The other part of it is that they've all, because the state parks, the guy who's in charge of about 6 of the parks, he's so excited about this that they have hired a interpreter for, I think it's going to be on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to come in and talk about the lighthouse and the industry and everything like that. So there'll be an official parks person there talking. And when they're there, he's hoping to be able to have the interpreter unlock the lighthouse so you can go. You can't walk up, but you can look inside.
I tried.
But, so now you will be able to at least see.
big lock
There's this minor problem to restore. They want to get the lighthouse restored so people can actually go up. And they did a study, and it's going to be around $650,000 just for the lighthouse to fix it. The problem is, at some point in its history, someone chose to waterproof the outside of the keeper's cottage and the lighthouse with concrete. And concrete on stone and mortar don't work.
Right.
And so it's causing major problems. So all the concrete has to be removed. And then the inside, it's one tree trunk going up in the center. It goes from top to bottom. And then the steps are fanned out in a circle around, and the outside of the steps hook into the stone, and the inside hook into the tree trunk. And there's a few issues, let's say. So they can't open it up for people to walk up right now. But their goal is to get so you can go actually up there.
Oh, I love to see that. All right. Do keep us posted, and I will go down there. All right. So, John, we've got about another 5-6 minutes left. So, If you were to go to the McClurg Mansion, all right, people would say, well, what would you see? So
You to pick a topic and you'll see it.
All right.
We have. First of all, I want to say that kids are free from
what's a kid? 12
one
under?
to 1 to college, 21. I don't charge college, as far as I'm concerned, is our future. We do not charge anything for anyone. If they're in college, it's free.
Okay.
And if the kids come in from like SUNY Fredonia or JCC doing research, because we have a research library, when they find something and want to copy, most places, it's 25 cents a piece of paper to copy it or whatever.
Yeah. Cover your costs.
I don't charge it.
Oh, good for you.
As James O'Brien, our former president, our
Right.
late president, used to say, we just give everything away. And I said, hey, it's working, isn't it? We're in the black. We were in the red.
That's all that matters.
We started giving things away and we're in the black. That fundraiser in June, 100%, it's all donated, food, wine, everything. 100% is profit to the museum, and in 2 hours we make around $6,000 to $7,000. That pays.
That's
our
pretty unheard of.
utilities,
That's a lot of money fast.
that's
great. All right, so
Also the museum.
Let's just go general. Let's start there. Let's start in the basement, which is my favorite place.
Okay. Well, jump backwards a minute. We're not a house museum. A lot of people go to houses that are museums around and they see a house frozen in time.
Right.
We are not that.
Right.
Because everything was sold off in 1939, so we only have about 6 items from the McClurg Moore family.
Okay.
But we have 500,000 items because we have them for all over the county. So what we are displays, and we try to change them as much as possible all the time, so it'll get you coming back in. So basement, first room down in the basement was the workroom for the kitchen, and that is now dairy, cheese making, butter making. Butter making was the big thing in Chautauqua County.
Oh, I
So
know
we have
that.
all kinds of, you find out how butter was made, and all the milk bottles. We have a collection of milk bottles down there from the county. I started that a few years ago because I had a couple at home that I wanted to get rid of. And I
Always
thought,
starts
we
with
could-
a couple.
Yeah, and I thought, well, that'll be a good collection because nobody remembers the glass milk bottles with the. And it turns out, I didn't know, there were 275 separate dairies with their own label. It'll take me forever. We've got about 80 right now that we found. So if you have any milk bottles of Chautauqua County,
go.
let me know. We don't collect doubles, so I only take something if we don't have
So
it.
check with you.
Yeah, I could just call and say, do
doubles.
you need this bottle? We got 5 or 6 just a couple months ago from somebody in Dunkirk who
Cool.
said. So
Okay.
you get
So
that.
downstairs is a lot of agricultural stuff, if I remember
Yeah,
right. Native
So
American
first
things.
room is that. Second room is now a combination of weaving, spinning, and laundry.
Okay.
It was weaving and spinning, so we moved it. We have a loom down there that you can play on, you can sit on. The other thing we do is you can touch a lot of stuff in my museum. My museum. You go to a museum and it's like there's a cord and you can't even get in the room.
Yeah, I get in trouble for those things a lot.
Yeah, but not here. Not here. So anyway, so there's weaving and spinning. You learn how to do all that.
Can you take pictures?
Limited.
Okay.
Limited. There's also cameras everywhere, so we're watching you, so to speak.
I have cameras here too.
Yeah, that's true. And then I recently set up a whole display on laundry because I didn't realize people didn't know things like what a curtain stretcher was, or how old. We have an old washing machine that's wooden that was patented in Westfield in 1885, and it's amazing. It was found in somebody's barn, and no one's ever seen one like it. It was obviously a failure as a moneymaker because it's not anywhere, but it's this square box and it's got the agitator and it's great. So we have pant stretchers and stocking stretchers and all those kinds of things, and
Wow.
2 or 3 different kinds of washing machines. So that's a new display. Then the next room we're still working on because we need a new floor, but that's got a lot of woodworking things and carpenter's tools and also cabinet maker's tools. We have planes and that kind of thing. We have 2 old bicycles that are great. Water pipes from Mayville that were taken out in 1958. Wooden water pipes. They were still being used in 1958. That people are fascinated with those pipes. It's like, they got the water, how? And then the farthest room, there's a display on farming implements. Most of them are wooden because the farmers made their own. So we have that. We also have an ice harvesting display from Cornell and Hughes Ice House, which was right in Mayville, right where the park is. The reason there's a park there is because it was originally the Cornell and Hughes Ice warehouses.
Oh.
And we have
Didn't know
all
that.
of their tools. And then we have a reproduction of the last working blacksmith shop in the area, and that was Billy McCarty's. That was right where the parking lot for the HSBC Community Bank is now.
Okay.
And then there's there's silage, and there's fishing, and beekeeping, and then over at the last in that room is barrel making. That's my family stuff. And then the last room, which is mastodon bones,
yes,
and
my favorite room.
and Indian points, and the points go all the way back to 8,000 BC, right up through 1600 AD. They're all Erie points.
John, I promised to get you out of here early. So
only did the basement.
Well, we're going to come back and do the next couple of floors.
The big floors we didn't talk about.
Will you come back?
If I have to.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's plan on that. So, folks, this was my guest today, John Paul Wolfe, the curator at the Chautauqua County Historical Society. And if you forgot what we were talking about, you can go to YouTube and you can watch all the stuff that's going to go on for the next few months. So, John, thanks for coming in.
And we were open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4, year-round.
Year-round. All right.
Air-conditioned.
All right. So, guys, we're going to go to a public service announcement, and we're going to be right back with my next guest. Thanks, John.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
That was cruel.
Here, I promise you it wasn't going to be any stress and they get you on the wrong camera. Button happy, he's talking to me in my head here. Okay, folks, we're talking with John Paul Wolfe, and we now are segueing over to another event that's going on here in Chautauqua County that I have not talked about ever on the show, I don't think, and maybe we announced it, but I want to welcome Nancy Nixon Ensign, and you are the project coordinator.
I am. This is our 9th year already, which is hard to believe. It is every Memorial Day weekend. This year it's May 27th and 28th from 10 to 5. It's an open studio and gallery hub tour. There are 22 artists covering a span of about 30 miles, starting or ending at Chautauqua Institution all the way to Forestville. This is our biggest event for the North Shore Arts Alliance.
Wow, 30 miles. You know, I was thinking about it on the way over here, and I said art trail. That has a nice sound to it. It sounds like something that when you want to just wander, you know, it's not like a road, it's not a highway, it's a trail. You kind of explore, and you're never quite sure what's around the next bend, you know?
Well, most importantly, what you want to look for are these little red signs.
Okay.
That will lead you to an art studio or gallery hub. Our new brochures are everywhere. They have the name of the artists and the studios. It's a wonderful map. There's a legend, so if you're interested in photography, painting, ceramics, wearable art, sculpture, there's a legend that says just that. So it's a wonderful, exciting time to go into a studio. If you've never been into an art studio, it's a chance to see where we create, to see where we get our inspiration. You see works in progress, you see completed pieces. You can certainly, we encourage you to buy artwork and become one of our patrons.
You know, years ago, Barb and I were traveling into the New England area, and we had the good fortune to stop at the Norman Rockwell Institution or Institute or whatever, and they have his studio just like he left it. And it's fascinating just to see where his pipe was sitting, or an unfinished piece of work, or where he had his palette or whatever. And wow, I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. Yeah. So I can't imagine what it must be like to walk into a potter's a studio, or where you're working on some project or something like that. People don't realize how much work goes into this, though.
There's a lot of work, and it's also it's a little strenuous before the public comes into your studio and you realize, oh, I guess I should clean up a little bit. So
tidy up the shop.
It's exciting for all of us.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to engage with artists because it's I'm not speaking just as an artist. I think it's important to everyone to really reach out emotionally and to engage that part of their heart, their soul, their brain, because art's very important to us in the world.
See, I'm a musician, and I dabble artistically, I guess, a little bit. And, you wonder, why do I do what I do?
Mm-hmm.
And it does that. It emotes. Right. It makes people feel a certain way. It takes them back in their memories. Mm-hmm. It makes them feel happy, sad, whatever it is, and that's part of our lives. And without the arts, we're kind of like drab, it's like just wallpaper paste every day.
Yeah, it brings great depth to our soul.
So Nancy, tell me the history of the art trail. I mean, it's 9 years old, but how did it start and why?
Actually, there was a group of us, a group of professional artists that got together 9 years ago and we founded the North Shore Arts Alliance.
Okay.
As a non-profit institution.
That's here in Chautauqua County?
It is, actually. We met at each other's houses, our studios, several bottles of wine. We created this incredible organization. We have bylaws. I mean, we're a 501(c)(3).
Oh, that's important.
We have a board of 8 individuals. We write grants every year. Mm-hmm. I'm also exhibition chair, so we install it at 3 different venues. We have a lot going on. We have we have workshops. We're a wonderful organization. You can be a patron, you can be a sponsor, you can be an artist. We're always looking for artists. And of course, we are jurying every year. The Art Trail is a juried show. So we jury every year from October to November. So if you go to our website at northshoreartsalliance.com, you can go to the Art Trail and look for a form to submit. We're actually redesigning it right now, but it'll have the same domain name. So we're wanting to keep, obviously, the Art Trail in Chautauqua County, mostly in North County. I'm a South County artist, which is why I'm actually set up at my represented gallery, which is Portichelle Gallery, to keep the trail into an easy range to travel. It's very important. You don't want to have a 100-mile tour because you'll never really be able to see all the studios in one weekend.
And you're hurrying.
One weekend.
Yeah, you take your time.
You really want to experience it.
And that's really what a trail is. It's just a slow go, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, for those that are listening right now on our radio and on my viewers today, juried show, they may not know what that means.
A juried show is you submit photographs of your work, of your studio, to a small panel. Because it's a studio tour, obviously we would like photographs of your studio because we want that experience for the next generation of patrons to visit your studio. And your work is looked at for the strength of its technique and its method and skill. It's very concerned. I mean, we want to have not novices. We want wonderful crafted
master
art.
crafters, artists. So people might say, well, who are you to judge me? So what are your credentials, for instance?
Well, actually,
and I know they're quite extensive. So this is brag time, Nancy.
Okay. I am 16 years with the Patterson Library. I'm in charge of the adult programming. I'm also the gallery curator of the Octagon Gallery. Before that, I hailed from Orlando, Florida. I was a scenic artist for Disney and Universal Studios. Before that, I was in New York City. I had a set design company. Before that, I was in Cleveland. I was designing glass jewelry and ceramic jewelry, blowing glass. And before that, I was in Rochester in college at RIT. So
you sold me. You can be my judge. I got it.
I'm a professional artist, but there were years when I was working for other people, Disney and Universal, and I was doing very little of my own work. But I came back to this area 16 years ago. I love being back here. I mean, it's, my family's been here since 1848 in Westfield, and it's back in actually Chautauqua Neary Telephone Company.
Oh, okay.
And we had vineyards and we had cattle and
because Nixon's there's a name that you hear all over.
Yeah, it's being a part of this community and really loving it and enjoying every part of it. And if we can, reach out to those that support arts, that love the arts, that really bring in people for the Art Trail. Our biggest, obviously this is our biggest event, but we really want to reach out beyond just Chautauqua County. We're hoping to reach to Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Toronto, and beyond. It's a 2.5 hour from, essentially, from all those
we're
areas.
pretty
so
central,
it's if you leave bright and early, it would be a nice way to spend a weekend.
Okay, so one more time. This is Memorial Day weekend, so is that Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
It's Memorial Day weekend,
So which
it
days,
is
actual
Saturday
days?
and Sunday
Okay.
from 10 to 5.
Okay, Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
So
And if you arrive at 9:30, the artist is probably pouring themselves their second cup of coffee.
so if you were starting at the beginning of the trail, is there a beginning
There's
of the
no
trail?
beginning, there's no ending.
You just
Honestly, you look
bounce
for
around.
this,
See
look
what
for the
interests
art,
you?
and really follow your own sort of inner interests and needs, and what you're looking for, what really draws you in.
Okay,
So there's a legend on the map.
So where would you get this map?
The map is actually at our
libraries?
sponsors. Look for the trail, look for this red sign.
big art sign,
All the
art trail.
artists have extra maps.
Okay.
Many of our sponsors, we have a lot of new sponsors this year. We have a website that's under development, so all our new sponsors are not on the map. But Patterson Library has ample maps, but we're not open on Sunday.
Okay.
But they're everywhere.
They're
We have
everywhere.
a Pam Forge she's distributing our maps, so they're in a lot of large, gas stations.
Okay,
all
and so for those that are techie, they could probably just Google the Chautauqua Lake Erie Art Trail and
Yep,
it'll pop up?
it's actually, we also have a downloadable, printable map too
Great.
as well. But I would like, can I read the artists? Can I read the
Yeah,
names of the
sure,
artists?
go for it.
I can do it without my glasses. Dale Anderson, Tom Manier, Bonnie Bayer, Lucille Bryan, Audrey Dowling, James East, myself, Nancy Nixon, Kirsten Engstrom, Catherine Galbraith, Karen Glosser, Catherine Gulo, James Hogarth, Tom Janik, Marianne Janowski, Ronnie Lafferty, Trenton Lutz, Marcia Marins, Cynthia Norton, Cecilia Ivy Price, Carrie Trito, Tim Silverson, and Denise Williams. So it's a big list. We've always had about 20, 22, 25 artists because we've wanted to keep it intimate, keeping the trail personal.
Super.
We have introduced the gallery hubs last year, so those of us that are outside a certain range can be still within the range and keep it small.
And a phone number? Is there such a number that people can call you for information or no?
If I give them my own personal cell
We
phone
don't
as
want
a
them.
coordinator, it's going to go wild.
No, all right. So just go to Google.
Yeah, just go and Google our downloadable map.
Okay.
And of course, you can Google the names also and look for some artists. Many of the artists have websites,
All right.
so they'll have their studios on there as well.
Fair enough. Nancy, Nixon, Ensign, thank you for coming on the show today. And we are going to schedule you so you can come and do a whole show next year. How's that sound?
Goodness.
Well, you can bring somebody else with you. We're going to have some fun. So I got to do some public service announcements now. So you can sit back and relax, and we'll probably promote it one more time before we end the
Okay.
show. So, all right. So, folks, kick back. I'm going to go to some announcements here. We're going to go to Jamestown right now. Well, before I do that, I want to shout out to my buddies over in Mayville. Just down the street, really. I had the opportunity to play for the Mayville Seniors yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, Thursday. God, I lost Friday. So anyways, we had a lot of fun, Will and I playing for them, and so just to say hello. Okay, let's go to Jamestown. Infinity Tag Days are today. Calling all art supporters. There you go. Infinity will be holding their annual Tag Day fundraiser today at Walmart in Lakewood. Infinity students who will be providing performances and information about Infinity between 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Collected donations will directly support the Chautauqua County young people, providing them access to quality arts education and programming so that someday they can be part of the art trail. How's that for a good plug? Okay, my friends at Pulse Poetry Slam, Automaco, and all the others, the Infinity Visual and Performing Arts Center will be hosting the June installment of Pulse Poetry Slam on Thursday, June 1 at 6 p.m. at the Infinity Arts Cafe. Poetry is an excellent way to express creativity while practicing performance and public speaking. Poets and audience members welcome. Remember I told you about all the P's they put in there on me?
Yes, certainly.
Also at Infinity, they'll be hosting a performance of dance and theater with their students on Friday, June 2 at 6:30 in the Infinity Arts Cafe. Dance students will perform under the direction of Mariah Melendi, and theater students will perform under the direction of Adam Owens, Jamie Lee Bonfiglio Davis, and Teal Weatherly. I gotta get my name longer. You know, we got John Paul Wolfe. We got Nancy Nixon Ensign. I gotta go like Dr. John, whatever. Oh well. Everything at Infinity is free and family friendly. So check them out. We have right along with that, something near and dear to my heart that I've been part of for the last 5 years or more, maybe 6, is the local annual music showcase for Infinity. And they're looking for musicians to perform in September. I'm looking for the date. I forgot what it is. September 9th. And they have various venues and so forth. So if you're interested, contact Infinity and sign up to be one of the local bands. Will and I will be performing. I'm not sure where, but we'll tell you more as we go along. Moving right along. The second annual Cruisin' Chicken Barbecue and Fundraiser. That's slide 17, Jeff, at the Grape Discovery Center. Okay, beautiful poster there. I was just there yesterday talking with Christina. The rain date is the 18th. This is from noon to 5 p.m. You got a cruise in by the Lakeshore Street Route Association. Other cars and clubs are welcome as well. Dash plaques for the first 100 cars, award for the top 10 cars, chicken barbecue, pulled pork, and lots more. Southern Tier Distilling Company spirit sampling, wine from the Lake Erie Wine Country, craft beer, cider, wine slushes, grape slushes, and a whole lot. Music by The Freeze from noon to 3 p.m. And a guy that you might know, Doc Hamels, is performing from 3:30 to close. There's raffles, door prizes, and 50-50 drawing. If you're interested in being a vendor, $10 per table. Okay, let's see, what else? Also, the Grape Discovery Center is looking for volunteers to help with all kinds of things. And if you're interested, give Christina McCain a call at 326-2003. She's going to be on here next week, so we're going to talk a lot more about what they need from all of you. Let's go on to page 3 here. Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation recently approved awards totaling $76,752. They're giving away money to lots of groups. And I talk about this almost every week. There's money to be had. The Board of Directors of Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation recently approved all that money through the 2 grant-making programs. The Community Benefit Grants Program awarded a total of $70,000 plus change to 19 different organizations. This program awards grants on a biannual basis for projects that address Northern Chautauqua current needs and opportunities. Then they have the Community Pride Program, and they awarded $6,700 to 5 organizations. Grants are awarded through this program annually, that's spelled wrong, for projects that promote community pride and volunteerism. The next round of funding, mark on your calendar, September 1. So if you're interested, check it out and get the paperwork. The Community Pride Program will be offered again next spring. Then, I would be remiss if I did not announce this one. Next slide, Office for the Aging Perennial Plant Sale this week, and only this week, from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you go to the Mayville Hall Clothier Building in Mayville at May 23rd on 7 North Erie Street, they're selling plants. May 24th, Dunkirk St. John's Church at 733 Central Avenue. May 25, Jamestown's Christ First United Methodist Church on Buffalo Street. All plants are $3 each or 4 for $10, and it goes to benefit the McCoy Fund. If you have any questions, give Linda Spalding a call at 753-4471. She knows all about that. Okay, we talked about the McClurg thing going on June 10th. We're going to skip that. We're going to go to the 4th Annual Ella Rankert Memorial Golf Tournament. The Chautauqua Lake Child Care Center will be holding their 4th Annual Ella Rankert Memorial Golf Tournament. This is organized by the Child Care Center as a fundraiser to benefit for those that need a scholarship to the program, and it will be held June 17th at the Chautauqua Golf Club. If you're interested in joining that project and have some fun, 753-5851. Guys, we've run out of time. So, Nancy, one more time, Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day weekend, May 27th, 28th.
And that is the Chautauqua
Chautauqua Lake Erie Art Trail. Come out and see us.
So, thanks for coming
by.
by.
I'm wearing a Cynthia Norton.
Wearing a Cynthia Norton's original. Folks, we'll see you all next week. We're going to have the folks, Christina from the Grape Discovery Center. Have a great weekend. Get out there, enjoy the sunshine. Don't worry about the rain. It won't melt you. Take care. We'll see you next time.